All right, good afternoon, everyone. They've been trying to tape me for 2 days now, so now they've given me a piece of tape over here and over here. So I've got only this room. But I may come back there, you don't know. But it's so good to be here, to be back presenting Cowboy Up in person. We were not able to do that much last year. We did several Zoom presentations, and those were great, but some of those were in different states, and as you can tell with my accent, that might have or might not have gone so well. So it's really great to be here today and to be here in person. So I just want you to look around, and I just want you to tell somebody, it's so good to see you this afternoon.
So good to see you this afternoon, Bobby.
Look at what a joyful group of people we have right here in our room, and we are just so excited to be here. We presented this morning to our amazing bus drivers. We hope that you show them how much you appreciate them because they are a wonderful group, and we're excited and just blessed to be with y'all this afternoon. Now, I was thinking about this presentation, and I think there's probably two groups of folks in here right now, okay? Now, I don't know which group you're in. That's for you to decide. If you know what group somebody is sitting around you, don't point them out. That's just not nice, okay? But I want you to take a look at this picture right here. And just look at it for a moment. Take it all in. Now, you're either the little girl, okay, or you're the little boy over here in the corner. I don't know which one you are, okay? I'm not going to ask you. Some of y'all are pumped. Your classroom's ready. You've got your first outfit picked out for the first day of school. You're ready, right? Some of y'all are this little boy over here. That's all I'm going to say about that, okay? But the fact is, y'all, the students are coming when? Monday. So we've all got to get with this little girl somehow, okay? You hear what I'm saying? How many of y'all have seen the Cowboy Up presentation before? And how many of you have never seen the Cowboy Up presentation at all? Okay? So I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are like, I have seen this Cowboy Up presentation a lot. I have heard that country girl talk a lot, right? But I can promise you that we take that into consideration and that every time we do a presentation, it's different. I can promise you this presentation is different because I just finished it like maybe a couple nights ago, okay? But I have great people here with us today, and we're excited to share them with you. Cowboy Up was a junior auxiliary service project that was started in 2005. We are now very excited to share with y'all that just this past year, well, just this year actually, 2021, we became our very own established nonprofit organization. And that's because of many of y'all sitting in this room. We are so very grateful for the support that has been shown to Cowboy Up over the years. We have a new logo now that you might have noticed that was designed by Brian Allred, and we're very tickled over that. Cowboy Up is a message of suicide prevention, education, and hope. You will hear all those messages today. I hope you will see all of those messages today. The one thing that I want to say, and I want to be very clear about, is I want you to take care of you during this presentation. I know in a room this large, with this many folks, that some of you have been touched by suicide. If at any time during this presentation you need to step out, you need to take a moment, please do that, okay? Please take care of yourself. We're in here for just a little bit over an hour, and I want you to take care of you. Since 2005, we've had the opportunity to present to over 16,000 students in the Maury County school system. We started by presenting to all 7th grade students. We still do that. That's still the heart of who we are. That's still very important to us. We've grown a little bit over the years. We're starting some new projects this year. Now we present to teachers and folks across the community in Tennessee. and we're always very grateful for the opportunities that we have. And we're very grateful that the Maury County School System allowed us to be here today. We get a lot of our information, we get all of our information from 3 sources because we want to make sure that what we share with y'all is very accurate. So we get information from Tennessee Suicide Prevention Network, or the Jason Foundation, or the CDC. This is the first hour of training that you will have. You will have another 45 minutes or so of training on a tape session that I think you'll watch maybe August 3rd or a later date, and you will hear from Mary and Christian on the tape from TSPM. So this is from 1981 to 2015. As you can see, we're not going in the direction that we would like to go in. This is why we feel what we do is so important. Here's some of the latest statistics that we have from 2019. Over 47,000 people, over 47,000 people took their life in 2019 in the United States. Suicide was the 10th leading cause of death in 2019. Yet we don't hear a lot about it on social media or the radio or the news. Why? Stigma. I heard somebody say it, right? There's such a stigma still to suicide. People think if you talk about it, it's going to make people think about it. Let me tell you something. If somebody's thinking about it, it's not talking about it and asking them, are you having thoughts of being suicidal, is only going to help. Someone dies in the ages of 10 to 24 by suicide every hour and 21 minutes. By the time we have this session and you go out and you're kind of in the middle of your break, we will have lost somebody between the ages of 10 to 24 in our country. And there were an estimated 1.4 million suicides in 2019. Suicide rates have increased by 33% since 1999. And on any given day in Tennessee, we lose 3 people to suicide. And over 1,000 people died by suicide in 2019, right here in Tennessee. Now, I don't know, well, this is some of the latest research that I found just this week from the Children's Hospital Association. Where are my elementary folks at? Sometimes as elementary folks, we think this doesn't apply to us as much, right? We think it applies to our middle schools and our high schools. But as we've been doing Cowboy Up over the years, the ages are getting younger and younger and younger. And according to the Children's Hospital Association, since 2016 to 2019 now, between the ages of 6 to 12, that's the increase of children that they've seen coming to the hospital with suicidal thoughts or self-harm. Ages 6 to 12. Lots of folks ask us, well, I'm sure in the pandemic that the suicide rate has increased, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. The one thing that we are seeing an increase in are people that are calling into hotline numbers with anxiety or depression. We're also seeing an increase in girls attempting and girls getting help at the hospital, in fact, by 51%. Now, those statistics are alarming, okay? But the one thing that I can share with you today is that last year, right here in the Maury County Public School System, we lost some of our very own students. Now, I don't know about you, but as an educator in the Maury County Public School System, there are students, right? Doesn't matter if they go to Santa Fe or Keokuk, they're our students. And I don't know about y'all, but I don't want to lose one student this year. So I'm going to respectfully ask you, I know we've all got a to-do list, right? All of us right now, we've got things running through our head. I've got a to-do spiral notebook, okay? That's how big my list is. And I know that we all have one. But I'm just going to respectfully ask that in the little bit of time that we have together this afternoon, that we do have your full attention, that you just let that all be for a moment. Because we want you to hear the information. We want those around you to hear the information. I don't know how many times I've presented this, but every time I presented it, I'm reminded of something. And we do not want to lose any of our students or our friends or our family members this year or in any year. The gentleman in the middle, his name is Clark Flatt. He is a very dear friend of Cowboy Up's. He has been with us, and the Jason Foundation has been with us, helping us from day one. Clark Flatt lost his son, Jason, and again, he founded the Jason Foundation, which is why we're here today, because of the Jason Flatt Act, which requires all educators to receive 2 hours of suicide prevention training each year. This is what our 7th graders see when we go and present to them. It's also great information for adults to see. The Jason Foundation partnered with Rascal Flatts, and again, they're kind enough to us to let us use some of their material. We want our students, we want our adults, we want our communities to be aware that suicide is the 2nd leading cause of death for young people ages 10 to 24. It's the 2nd leading cause of death for college-age youth. But what does the last thing say? It's preventable. It's the number 1 preventable cause of death. Now, I know some of you have sat in this training before or trainings like it, and you already know some of the warning signs. So I just want to give you a minute to talk with those around you. What are some of the warning signs that you already know? So what are some of the warning signs? Who knows one that they want to call out? Giving away stuff, right? Giving away prized possessions. What else? Withdrawal. Changes in mood or behavior. What else? Discussions of it. Talking about it. Right? You know, here's some of the ones that we go over with students, which I'm sure are some that you talked about. Suicidal threats. Saying, I want to kill myself. I don't want to be here anymore. And sometimes when those things are said, what happens? We say they just want attention, right? Well, here's the thing, y'all. We have to give it to them. Because I don't know about you, I'm not a licensed counselor. I'm not a professional in that way. I don't know if that person is serious or not, and it's not up to me to determine if they are or not. It is up to me to report it. Previous suicide attempts. Someone that keeps attempting, eventually they're going to get it right. Okay, so definitely puts them at risk. Someone that's depressed, we kind of recognize that, right? That someone that is depressed, that they may be having thoughts of suicide. But sometimes here's what happens. People are depressed, they come out of the depression, their family and friends, they think, whew, we made it, right? Everything's okay. And then sometimes that's when it happens. Because when somebody is so depressed, sometimes they can't carry through with it. Sometimes that's when they've made the plan. And then when they come out of it, they've kind of made up their mind, they're saying their goodbyes, and so that's also a time that we have to be aware. Sudden failure to complete assignments, dwindling academics, an I don't care attitude. Ty Cobb with the Columbia Fire Department spoke with us this morning, and he talked about somebody that took his life, and he was talking about how this person was always neat. You know, they always had it together. Their home was always put together, and all of a sudden it was like they didn't care what they looked like. Their grass was grown up. Their blinds were pulled on their home. And so we're not just talking about our students today. So keep in mind your friends, your family members, folks in our community. Lack of interest in activities they used to enjoy. Sudden changes in appearance or behavior. A preoccupation with death and suicide. There's sudden increase or decrease in appetite and making final arrangements. We go over these signs with our students in Maury County, our 7th graders, and through the years, many of them have reported to their school counselor. And I have to give a huge shout out to our school counselors today because lots of times they present this information for us, and we appreciate them so much. But through the years, they've gone to the school counselors. Many students have said, hey, I'm recognizing this, or this is what so-and-so said, or this is what so-and-so posted. And we've had kids get the help that they need, and as far as I know, they're still here. So it works when we recognize the signs and we report it and we get people help. And then there's times when it's not like this neon flashing sign, right? Sometimes people aren't going to ask for help. Sometimes the sign, it happens and you're like, what happened? I didn't see any signs, right? Let me just say this right now. If you're somebody that's lost somebody to suicide, or you know somebody that committed suicide, I don't want you to leave here feeling worse than when you walked in, okay? I don't want you to think, oh man, I missed that sign, or I missed that, or I missed this. There's an expression that says, I did the best I could at the time with what I knew, and that was the best that I could do. And sometimes we have to say that to ourselves, but then we have to ask ourselves, what can I do from this point forward? Okay? I have a desk up there because I was in Nashville doing a training. It wasn't Cowboy Up, it was something different. And on a wooden desk, it was carved, I want to kill myself. And it was summer. And so I'm thinking, oh my goodness, did the teacher see that? Did a student see that? Did the child get help? Are they still here? So we always have to have our radars on with our students. This information, this is something I did not know until I went to the Tensro conference this summer, okay? If a student, if a child or anybody puts on social media, I'm depressed, I'm thinking about killing myself, I'm thinking about ending it, sometimes those things are flagged. And so people that are really serious about it are starting to use hidden hashtags, okay? So hashtag Sue is a girl who is suicidal. Hashtag Dallas is a boy that's suicidal. And you can see the other hashtags there. Okay, what makes me just sick to my stomach is sometimes people or students or whoever can use these hashtags, and there's people out there that will encourage them to take their life. There's people out there that will encourage them and help them make a plan. Okay? That's just the stuff that's going on, and we need to know about that, and we need to know about these things. The emojis that they use, I wasn't aware of that either. Makes sense when I look at it, but I wouldn't have been aware of that until I went to Tensro this summer. And so as educators, we need to watch for these things. We need to be aware of these things. Hashtag KMS, that means kill myself. And like I said, there's people that can post that, and there's people that'll hop on and find them right away and help them. This is also what we share with the kids, be prepared. Where do you go for help? What's the number one thing up there? Teacher, right? Okay, they're coming to you. They may not come to you and say, I need help, but I guarantee you they're doing some things sometimes that show you they need help. And as administrators and teachers and educators and whatever your job is at the school, we've got to be there and show up for our students. So what can bring a good cowboy, cowgirl down? What are some risk factors? Take another minute and talk with those around you about some of the risk factors that you already know. So these are some of the ones that you all may have mentioned. Alcohol and drugs. Students who begin drinking at an early age are 3 times more at risk for being suicidal. Bullying. Is that a surprise? No, it's not a surprise, right? Is it important for us as educators to stop bullying as quickly as we can? Yes, super important, right? But here's the thing. Not only is the person that's being bullied at risk, the bully is at risk. Because let me tell you, the person that wakes up every morning and says, I'm going to try to make somebody's life miserable today. There's something miserable about them that they can't really deal with. That's why they are taking it out on other folks. And so we have to help the bully and the person that's being bullied. Folks who have a mental illness, okay, are more at risk for suicide. One of the things that we do with Cowboy Up is we not only try to break down the stigma of suicide, we also try to break down the stigma of mental illness, okay? Let me tell you, do we accept the fact that there's some people that have cancer and they need chemo? Yeah, we do, right? We support them. We take them casseroles, right? We send them cards. Do we support folks that have a mental illness in the same way? No. Do we support their caregivers in the same way? No. We have got to get to a place in our society where mental illness and physical illness is treated the same. That we support those who have a mental illness just like we support those that have a physical illness, so that people don't feel alone in that, and so that people feel supported in that, and that caregivers feel supported in that, and that people are not so afraid to get help. Folks who have a concussion are 3 times more at risk of committing suicide. We need to know that, right? I love sports. I love watching football. I love it all. Love the Olympics and watching that at night, okay? But we need to be aware that when one of our students has a concussion, and we go, they hit their head, bless their heart. It's more than that. Usually when that person is looking into the mirror, they don't even recognize themselves. Lots of times depression comes along with that. They wonder, are they ever going to be the person that they were before? So we need to be there for our students and our folks in our lives that have a concussion. Students that are 8, 9, 10 years old are taking their life. One of the youngest students that I heard about, the child was 8, and they wrote their suicide note with a crayon. So it affects everyone, no matter if you teach pre-K or seniors in high school. So what do? I want you to walk out of here today knowing what to do. We went over it this morning with our bus drivers, what they do. Okay, what's our part as educators? You will be getting more information from Yvette Carter in central office, but here's what you need to know. Here's the bottom line, and here's the bottom 3 facts kind of. First of all, just listen. Always have your radar on with your students. Listen even when they're not talking. You know what that means? Pay attention. Are they posting things? Are they writing things? Is there something written on their notebook? Pay attention to everything that's going on. And take all threats seriously. I've heard conversations before, okay? I don't think they meant it. That's just Johnny. He says that every week. He may do it, okay? But there's protocol to follow if he's saying it every week, because guess what? One week, he might be super serious. And it's not up to us to decide that. When we see those warning signs, we have to report it immediately. Report it to your school counselor and your administrator, okay? Here's the good news. You don't have to do anything from there if you're just a teacher, if you're an educator. Okay, there's more training for them, and they know the next steps. The other thing is never, ever leave the child alone. Don't put the child on the bus, okay? Don't think I'll tell my principal in the morning. Tell immediately, and do not leave the child alone. Don't leave the child at the water fountain to go in the office to get your administrator, okay? Stay with the child. So never leave the student alone. Contact your school counselor and administrator immediately, okay? Those are the things that we need to know as educators. And like I said, more information will be coming soon from our central office. We get calls all the time about counseling services or what to do next. And I always say, we're not professional counselors, but I can lead you in the direction of folks who are. And this is what we give them. We always give them the hotline number. It's 24 hours a day. I used to think that it was only for people who are suicidal, but it's also for people that are just struggling with depression and anxiety, and they need somebody to talk to. They can either call the number or they can text 741-741. I don't think she's here, but we had Mary Fox with us, and I know she's left some information at our table. How many of y'all have seen Pinewood Springs in Maury County? Okay. How many of y'all thought it was like a paper company or something? It's not, okay? It is a mental health hospital that we now have here in Maury County. Let me tell y'all, it's a gift, okay? It is a gift because for a long time, the closest mental hospital that I was aware of was in Nashville. When you have a family member that is in the hospital, you really don't want them far away, right? Unless they have to be far away. So for us to have this hospital here is a true gift to Maury County. And again, there's more information out on our desk. I know folks can just walk in there if they need help. They don't have to go to the emergency room first, which is huge. They have outpatient services. They have inpatient services. I think they just opened their adolescent wing. I got to tour the hospital. It's very pretty. I mean, it is. It's very pretty. There's lots of artwork, and it's clean, and it's nice. And I'm just so thankful that our families and folks surrounding us have this resource right here in Maury County. Whew, that's a lot of information, right? So, Cowboy Up is a message of suicide prevention, education, and what? Hope, right? Hope comes from lots of different places, correct? Okay, for me, hope comes from laughter sometimes, okay? You'll never see us do a Cowboy Up presentation and we're serious the whole time because it's just not who we are, right? It's not, is it? No. And so we're going to play a little game. And last year we played a game with jelly beans. Anybody see that or participate in that? It was disgusting, okay? You had to eat something really gross. Nothing like that. I think some of y'all have already heard about this game. And I think some of you are already nervous about this game. But don't worry. Because we had people already sign up and volunteer, didn't we, Beth? Oh my gosh, can y'all believe that? They're not going to believe it either. Okay, so is Beverly Norman here from Calliope? Oh, Beverly, thanks for signing up. Come on down. It's like the price is right in here right now. Yay, Beverly from Calliope. Carol Ann Gent, the new principal at Woodard. Ryan Jackson from Mount Pleasant High School. Jonathan Spotter from Senathy. Where'd he go? Oh, I was like, you skipped out. Oh my gosh, my principal signed up. Mr. Holmes, that was so nice of you. How many is that? One, two, three. One more. Who in the world would it be? But Kevin Eady, come on down. The principal at Central.
This team and me over on this side.
Okay. All right, we need our coaches. Miss Darlene, you're coaching this team, and they need you over here. All right, we got it. Okay, and y'all got Sean as your coach over here. Okay, y'all have a serious job out here. You ready? Everybody raise their right hand. I'm not kidding, raise your right hand. Say, I accept the responsibility of being an official Cowboy Up judge of Cowboy Up Karaoke. Look how happy they are. Oh my goodness. All right, so here's how we play. Y'all have to help. They may need to phone a friend. I don't know. But I'm going to give them one word and 40 seconds. Yeah, well, really nice today. 40 seconds, and they have to think of a song, and then they're going to perform it for us. Oh, thanks for signing up for this. All right, your first word, okay? Listen carefully, because this is a family show. It's friend, not friends, so you can't just sing friends in some places. Friend, only friend, okay?
Ready?
You have to think of a song that has friend in it.
Go.
Here's your thinking time.
Yes. I can't think of the word. You got friend. You ain't got to sing those.
Y'all ready?
I got 10 seconds.
We ready?
Y'all ready? Count down. 10, 9, 8.
6, 5, 4,
3, 2, 1. Yeah, keep going.
You've got a friend in me. Oh, we got.
That's all
Oh, that was good! Yay!
I wrote that.
All right, y'all ready? Okay.
Same song, just better.
You got Mr. Holmes or whoever.
Hold that one, man.
All right.
Wait, yours already.
You got a friend in me. You got a friend in me. When the road looks rough ahead, and you're miles and miles from your nice warm bed,
You remember what your old
old pal said, boy, you got a friend in me.
Well, that was a tie, so we have a tiebreaker. Next word really quick is love. I don't know. I'm being nice. All right, love. Think of a song with love in it. Go. Y'all get to go first this time, so be prepared. Make sure you get pictures.
I cannot say it.
How much time? Ready? All right, let's count down. Ready, y'all? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. You're first this time. Y'all ready?
As we're gonna be. You may think that I'm talking foolish. You've heard that I'm wild and free. You may wonder how I can promise you now this love that I feel for you will always be.
Woo! Oh. Getting stiff. Competition's getting stiff. All right. Oh, they need the microphone.
Oh, we got it.
Y'all got it? All right.
Ready? I just called to say I love you. I just called to say how much I care. I just called to say I love you, and I mean it from the bottom of my heart.
I think y'all might have done this before. I don't know. All right, y'all get to keep your cowboy hats. You get a shirt or a hat from Cowboy Up. Let's hear it for Team 1. Let's hear it for Team 2. All right, thank y'all very much. No, not really. Oh, my goodness. So, what does it mean to have a Cowboy Up attitude? Well, you just saw it, because I don't know if you can tell or not, but they really didn't sign up, okay? But that's kind of what the spirit of Cowboy Up is all about. But for us, the C in Cowboy Up stands for courage and care. O stands for overcome. W stands for wisdom. B stands for bold. O stands for old. That's my favorite. Y stands for you. U stands for up. And P stands for promise for tomorrow. That sounds really easy, doesn't it? Yeah? Maybe not so much. You know, I've been doing Cowboy Up for a while, and about 6 years ago, I was in a tragic bicycle accident. I was on a road bike, not a motorcycle, but a road bike. I was going about a little over 25,000. Wow, that story got big quick. 25 miles per hour. And I was going downhill, and my front tire blew out. And I went over the handlebars, and I hit head first. I bounced backwards, and I pretty much broke everything from the inside out. I was in Vanderbilt trauma unit for a week. I was in a rehab facility for 3 weeks, learning how to think again, learning how to walk again, with no promise of ever making it back to a classroom. And I think, you know, when you have an accident like that, people think, well, a few months she'll be better. But when you have something like that, or you have an illness, lots of times it's just the road that you're dealt, right? And you just do it the best you can. And I was facing, I think, my 4th surgery. And I was going somewhere one night, kind of by accident, but probably not really by accident. But I got to hear someone speak. And I'm the kind of the face of Cowboy Up, right? And so I was kind of hiding how I was really feeling. I was like, Regina, you're the Cowboy Up girl. No matter what, you gotta let people think you're okay, and you gotta put that smile on your face. But inside, I was pretty bummed that I was about to have shoulder surgery that time, and that new injuries just kind of kept popping up. So I spent a little bit sorry for myself, if you want to know the truth about it. But I walked into this place, and I began to hear this person speak, and I began to listen. And his name is Brian Arnold, and I was so touched, and I was so inspired. And I thought, if I ever have the opportunity to bring Brian Arnold in to speak with Cowboy Up, I want to do it. And since that time, Brian Arnold has become a very dear friend of Cowboy Up, a very dear friend of mine, and he is here all the way today from Missouri. So would you please make my friend Brian Arnold feel welcome today?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Don't you just love Miss Regina? Absolutely. She is one of the nicest, sweetest people that you will ever meet.
He's going somewhere.
But you know, she like everybody can have an off day. And she was telling me this story about here a few weeks ago that she was awakened in the middle of the night by somebody knocking on her door. And she goes to the door, and of course it's pouring down rain, and here's this guy standing at her front door drunk. And he's saying, "I need a push." And she looks at this guy, this drunk, and says, "Do you not realize what time it is?" And she slams the door in his face and goes back to bed. Well, you know Miss Regina, she's so nice. Her conscience got to bothering her. And she's thinking, you know, everybody deserves help. Even a drunk deserves help. So she gets back up, and she gets dressed. She goes to the front door. And she, of course, it's pouring down rain. It's dark, and she can't see the guy. So she's like, "Are you still here?" And the guy hollers back, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you still need a push?" "Yeah." "Well, where are you?" "Over here by the swing." That was better in my head, really. Listen, I am delighted to be a small part of today. As you can see by looking at me, I've been through a number of things in my life. I was actually ran over by a lawnmower at the age of 6 years old. It was a freak accident. My left leg was cut off right below the knee, and I've worn an artificial leg ever since. And because of that accident, I've worn this badge, this label, if you will, of being a handicap, because I was fitted with an actual wooden leg at the age of 6. And I can remember going to school and kids making fun of me and feeling sorry for myself. And I didn't want anybody to know that I was different, so I would never go out in public wearing shorts. And my dad at that time was a basketball coach. And I, like most kids, you know, you want to grow up and be a lot like your dad. I wanted to play basketball for my dad, but I couldn't run very fast. And so my mother, realizing that I wasn't going to make the team, even with my dad as the coach, decided that I needed to learn to do something that I could do sitting down. So she bought a piano for $25, sight unseen, had it delivered to our house, and elected me the lucky one to take piano lessons. Now, I didn't feel lucky because we were not a musically inclined family, and I had never once said I wanted to be a piano player. But my mother was determined, and she used that gentle persuasion that only mothers can. They used to call that beatings. And even though it didn't change my life overnight, I graduated high school with a scholarship to college playing classical piano, and from there made my way to Branson, Missouri. Now, I don't know if you've ever been to Branson, Missouri, but it's like Tennessee's version of Pigeon Forge. And I found myself by 2001 being in the #1 show in Branson, the #1 quartet in Branson, and life was looking really good for me. Life was looking really good. I can tell you that as a 6-year-old losing my left leg, no one thought that this was going to be my future. But I did have a really good choir teacher that decided to give me a little bit of extra encouragement along the way. And I know she had no idea what was in my future, but it did dramatically change my life. Now, January 16th, 1994 rolled around, and I was involved in an automobile accident with a semi-truck. I got tangled up in the seat belt, which caused me to break my neck at C2 and 3. I suffered a partial stroke, had internal injuries they were afraid I was going to bleed to death from. And on top of all of that, I had to wear a halo brace. You ever seen a halo brace? They screw it into your skull in about 4 different places. It is not a heavenly experience, I'll tell you that. And my left arm was completely paralyzed from the shoulder down. The lap belt came up under my arm and caused permanent damage to the brachial plexus. So I found myself at this point being known as a piano player, making my living as a piano player, lying in a hospital bed being told my left arm's never going to work again, thinking to myself, I don't know any one-handed piano players. What am I going to do with my life? And I felt real sorry for myself all over again. Anybody here ever felt sorry for themselves? If your hand's not up, you're lying right now. I think at some point we all tend to feel sorry for ourselves because of things that happen to us in our life. And I had to learn to be an overcomer all over again. And I did. I mastered playing the piano with one hand, continued to perform in Branson, Missouri. Life was looking really good. I've had a wonderful life. But about 3 weeks ago, I had something else happen to me. Yes, I am a little bit accident prone, I guess. And I'd like to think that this was a better story than what it really is, but I was just trying to get on a golf cart. And in getting on the golf cart, I stuck my hand on the back of the seat, pushing myself up, tore my rotator cuff in 2 places, and my bicep tendon. So on September 9th, I'm going to have rotator cuff surgery, which means I'm going to have my right arm completely immobile for at least 6 to 8 weeks. Just do a little bit of imagination right now. Go with me. Realizing that I'm going to be without arms. I'm going to be able to do literally nothing. So my good friend Bob, who's down here on the front row with me, he's already made plans to install a bidet at my house because my wife does not love me that much. So why am I here today? I'm here today to tell you that, we all go through tough times. I'm fixing to go through some even more tough times. And you can roll over and feel sorry for yourself and, oh, woe is me. Or you can look for an opportunity to be a blessing to somebody else. So often what happens in our lives is we allow our stuff to become so overwhelming that we don't look around and see the others around us. And what we're trying to ask of you today is that in the midst of everything you're dealing with in life, not that it's a contest with anybody, but in the midst of what you're dealing with, to remember that being a good human means caring for people when you don't have to, and sometimes even when you don't want to. And I can tell you from firsthand experience, because it's cost me an arm and a leg to be here today. Some of you will get that in a minute. It'll really be a blessing. It really was funnier in my head, I know. But as I stand here before you today with my left arm not working, my left leg missing, at least I can tell you I'm always right. Yeah, I'm a Branson entertainer. Yeah, there you go. But in all seriousness, you've got a challenge in front of you, and you may be dealing with a kid who's hiding something just like I was hiding my artificial leg. Just be aware, regardless of what you're going through, be aware of those that are around you. You could possibly change somebody's life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Brian, so much. As you can see, he's one of our Cowboy Up heroes, and we're just so blessed and honored that he's been with us, even though when he's opened every time, I've heard a different story about myself that I didn't know, so, But again, just appreciate him being with us. And, after I heard his story, I was just so inspired to keep going myself, and we all need those people that we can draw strength from, right? And I keep this helmet not as a reminder from my accident, but a reminder of something else. Because if you were looking at it from where you're sitting, how does it look? Good. It's good, right? Looks like I could wear it again. But if you came up here and you looked at it closely, you would see that it's broken, it's cracked, in lots of different places. And I keep this as a reminder because, sometimes it's obvious that we can look at somebody and notice things, and sometimes it's not. And this is just a reminder to me that everybody's going through something usually, and that sometimes we have to get up and get close and build relationships, right? Build relationships with each other, build relationships with our students, and just see if there's somewhere that we can help. So when I hear his story and I think about, I remember before my accident, I used to say, summer's over, full time's over, I'm going to have to wait till October to go to the beach now, And I would say those things when it was time for school to start. I don't say those things anymore because there was a time, like I said, I didn't know if I would make it back. And so on Monday, we don't have to go to work. We get to go to work. We get to show up for each other, and we get to show up for our students. So I know that some of y'all have heard the Cowboy Up story before. I can only tell it one way, and I don't think we would be Cowboy Up without telling the story. This is our, what presentation, number 3 or 4? I don't even know. Oh my goodness, y'all are number 4. I hadn't told it in a while because, like I said, we didn't present a lot last year. So you might have to bear with me a bit because I've told it a few times now. But it all started because of a young man that grew up on a farm. He had 2 older brothers and a younger sister. He could play the guitar and the drums and the piano all by ear. When he was a senior in high school, he received the highest award that you can receive in FFA, which is the American Farmer degree. When he graduated from MTSU, he received a degree in agriculture business. He loved Ben and Uncle Marcus, 2 of his nieces. He was funny, he was talented, he was good looking, and along about the time that he graduated from MTSU, life got a little bit challenging. And also along about that time, the movie 8 Seconds came out. Have any of y'all seen the movie 8 Seconds? Yeah? Okay. So if you've not seen the movie, I'll explain it to you. It's about a bull rider named Lane. Lane gets completely trampled on by a bull. He's hauled off to a tent. His buddy Tough is sitting there. Tough got his name because he slammed his hand in a car door and he didn't cry. That's pretty tough. And so he kind of listened to Lane say, bull riding's not for me, I'm going to quit. And finally, Tough gets up, he walks over to him. He said, you know what you need to do? You need to. Cowboy up. Cowboy up. And so for whatever reason, that expression stuck with this young man. 99.9% of the time. Until June 14th, 2003. He went behind his parents' house, and he took his life. And the reason I know that story so well is because Marcus was my youngest brother. And I've had people through the years sometimes say, Regina, why do you want to tell that story? Or bless her heart, she can't let her brother go, she can't get past it. Let me just tell you, I let my brother go a long time ago. I had to say goodbye a long time ago. But the reason that I tell that story, the reason we do what we do, the reason we keep doing Cowboy Up year after year after year is for one reason only. Because when I went to my dad and asked him kind of the blessing, I've got this idea, I don't know what you think about it, I want to know before we do it, is the family okay with that? He sat there for a minute, and as you can see, my dad had really big hands. And I'll never forget what he did. He held up one finger, and he said, if you can help one child, one family, then you go do it. So that's what we do. That's who we are. It's not about Regina Perry. It's about helping one child, one family, and it takes a lot of people to do that. All those people out there sitting at the table, they're not getting paid, and we're nonprofits, so don't put any ideas in their head because we don't have any money, okay? But the people that come, Sean Gasaway and Logan and them, they come because they care. They don't want us to lose any students this year. That's why they're here. That's why they give their hearts, and that's why they share their stories. And so I want to get back in closing to what's happening with the suicide rates in this pandemic. And I researched that this week, and I was absolutely fascinated by what I found. And I even checked with Mary and Christian from TSBN today and said, is this right? I just want to know, I want to make sure this is right. What would you think was happening with our suicide rates in the pandemic? They were going up. Yeah. Here's the fascinating thing, y'all. The suicide rates in the pandemic, according to preliminary reports, okay, not final reports, but preliminary reports, that the suicide rate, the suicide death rate, is 6% down. And here's why. Because we all knew that the pandemic was tough. We all knew people were struggling. And we were checking in on each other. We were calling each other. We were sending people cards. We were supporting each other. And so because of that, the suicide rate for death rate is down. That's huge. That speaks volumes, because what that says is that together we make a difference. I'm going to tell you right now, there is no way I would have made it through the year that I lost Marcus without my McDowell family surrounding me. People that didn't probably even like me, which is okay, but they were showing up. They were at my door every morning saying, what can I do? How can I help you? No matter what I've been through in my life, that was the hardest year. Let me tell y'all, when we show up for our students and we show up for each other, there's absolutely nothing in Maury County that can stop us. Okay? Together, we make a difference. So how can you keep helping us? If you haven't liked our Facebook page, please like it. Please share our post. That's the way we help create awareness. All of our proceeds from our shirts and things, they go right back into our project. Like I said, everybody is a volunteer, and that helps us keep our projects going. We couldn't do it. Cowboy Up would not be Cowboy Up without all of our supporters, without all of y'all helping and supporting us. We've gotten to do some really cool things over the years. We have a room at the Boys and Girls Club, which is our Cowboy Up teen room. We get to go there once a month. Those kids, they will make you smile no matter what's going on in your day. We're super excited that we're starting a program this year called Cowboy Up Kids. We're hearing a lot of talk among our fourth graders. And so with the support of the school system, which we are so grateful for, we're starting a program with our fourth graders where our school counselors will be reading books that Cowboy Up has purchased and the school system has helped us purchase. One of them is You're Here for a Reason. One is called You Are Enough. And our kids will be reading those and doing some writing activities with those, and they will all get a bracelet that says You Are Enough. So we're starting that this year. We have a book coming out in the fall. Cowboy Up is based on a Hughesm. It's based on if you can help one child, one family. And my daddy said that, right? And my dad's name was Hugh. My dad said a whole lot of stuff. So it's now in a book that will be coming out in the fall. And what I'm so super proud of, one of the occupations right now that is so high for suicide is among our farmers, okay? I don't know about y'all, but I love our farmers, right? We couldn't make it, we couldn't do anything without our farmers. So part of the proceeds from this book will go to Cowboy Up to help bring awareness and support our farmers. We have a support group now. We have an office now. Woohoo! I tell you, we've gone from a little spot in a place to my classroom to, we had a storage unit. We thought we were big stuff when we had that. And now we have an office. And because we have an office, we have a support group now that meets once a month on the second Tuesday from 6:30 to 8 for anyone that has lost someone to suicide, a family member, a friend, a student, and that's always there. And we started that a couple of months ago. How many of y'all have seen the signs maybe at your school or around town that look like this? Okay. So with Cowboy Up, just know that there's always a story behind pretty much everything that we do. When I was in, like I said, I was in Vanderbilt for a week and then in an inpatient rehab for 3 weeks. And we draw strength from different people, don't we, when we're going through hard times. And I met a gentleman by the name of, I called him Mr. Fred, okay? I would go to therapy. I met Mr. Fred in therapy. He helped me cheat on one of my puzzles, okay? That's how we became friends. And then I found out that Mr. Fred could tell these amazing stories. So every day when I would finish my therapy, I would go find out where Mr. Fred was, and I would listen to his stories. And I'd been there 3 weeks. I was about to leave. I went to tell him bye, and he said, if I can ever help you with Cowboy Up, please let me know. And he asked me what some of my dreams were, and I told him, and I said, maybe one day somebody will write us a song. He goes, I might could help you with that. And I went, oh, okay. And he said, and then when I get out of here, I'm going to go see, I'm helping Willie Nelson with a project. And I went, Willie? No, he said, Willie. And I said, Willie? And he goes, Nelson. I went, well, yeah. He goes, you want to go? I went, well, sure. I'm thinking, oh, my stars, what's going on here? And so long story short, that happened. And as you can tell, Mr. Fred is the one, well, you know who Willie is, so Mr. Fred's the other one. But it became very important to Mr. Fred. Mr. Fred was actually Fred Foster. And when I asked him, I said, we've never talked about what you do. Who are you? He said, I'm a producer, songwriter, founder of Monument Records. I went, oh, okay, all right. So it became very important to Mr. Fred to write us a song. And Mr. Fred actually would have celebrated his 90th birthday this week. But a couple of months before Mr. Fred passed away, he finished our song. And our song is called There's a Lot to Live For. Because he said, Gina, people don't want to hear, don't kill yourself. They want to hear all the reasons that we have to live for, right? And so in the tape session that you're going to watch, we're going to have a school competition. Again, we did it a couple years ago, but where your school gets to make a song or a display or whatever to show people there's a lot to live for, and that's kind of where it comes from. And I tell y'all, if I could ask anybody in the world to sing our song, I would pick Logan Blade every single time. And Logan's here with us today. You'll hear his story from his mom on the taped session that you'll watch in maybe August 3rd or a later date, and you definitely want to watch that and hear the story. And as he's getting ready to come and sing our song, There's a Lot to Live For, I just want to leave you with this thought, okay? When I started teaching, I asked my dad. My dad taught agriculture for 40 years at Culleoka. So it's my first day as an educator. I go to my dad. I said, Dad, tomorrow's my first day of school. What kind of words do you have for me? He said, Gina, every day is not going to be a good day. And I went, that's it? Just took all the air out of my little happy new teacher balloon, right? And he said, but you need to remember, it will be the good days that get you through the bad. It took me a while in my career to realize what he meant. But the other huism that he left me with was, and this has kind of guided me through my career, is that some students will make it with or without you. Some students will make it because of you. I know this job is hard. I know there's days when you're just like, man, I've got so much on my plate. But I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart that I appreciate you and that I know without a shadow of a doubt that everyone in this room has the ability and the power this year to change a life, to change a student, and I know that you will because who you are makes a difference. Please welcome Logan Blade.
Good afternoon, everyone. I just want to say something quick before Logan starts to sing. Logan tape session, but Logan was diagnosed with autism at the age of 2. He's pretty much nonverbal. He does not have any conversation skills. He'll answer yes or no, But taking him and dropping him off at school and him not being able to tell me what kind of day he had, it was very terrifying. Logan had he hummed for self-stimulation, and his music teacher said, "Darlene, do you realize he's humming in perfect pitch?" Because he didn't talk. And I said, "What's perfect pitch?" You know, I didn't know. I had no clue. I was not musical. I wasn't brought up in a musical family. So what Logan's talent is, it's a God-given talent. And we are so blessed to share our story with y'all, and going to let Logan take it over.
The sound a child makes laughing on a seesaw in the park. The light that paints the evening sky and slowly fades to dark. The gentle rumble of the waves as they tumble to the shore. If you'll take the time to look around, you'll find there's a lot to live for. The taste of cold, clear water taken from a mountain stream. The feeling when you first wake up from a perfect, happy dream. A kitten chasing shadows across the hardwood floor. It's amazing how such simple things show you there's a lot to live for. A smile is an easy thing to find if you look hard enough. There's not a single thing on earth that God's hand hasn't touched. When we think of all the blessings and gifts He has in store, through faith and grace it's plain to see it's true. There's a lot to live for. A smile is an easy thing to find if you look hard enough. There's not a single thing on earth that God's hand hasn't touched. And when we think of all the blessings and gifts He has in store, through faith and grace it's plain to see it's true. There's a lot to live for. There's a lot to live for. There's a lot to live for.
Just think, you could be that one teacher. That's all it takes is one teacher. This young man's been on the Grand Ole Opry. He sang with the National Symphony just because one teacher took that extra time. Thank y'all.
The sound a child makes laughing on a seesaw in the park. The light that paints the evening sky and slowly fades to dark. The gentle rumble of the waves as they tumble to the shore. If you'll take the time to look around, you'll find there's a lot to live for. The taste of cold, clear water taken from a mountain stream. The feeling when you first wake up from a perfect, happy dream. A kitten chasing shadows across a hardwood floor. It's amazing how such simple things show you there's a lot to live for. A smile is an easy thing to find if you look hard enough. There's not a single thing on earth that God's hand hasn't touched. When we think of all the blessings and gifts He has in store, through faith and grace it's plain to see it's true. There's a lot to live for. A smile is an easy thing to find if you look hard enough. There's not a single thing on earth that God's hand hasn't touched. And when we think of all the blessings and gifts He has in store, through faith and grace it's plain to see it's true. There's a lot to live for. There's a lot to live for.